More information on what may have went down in New England between Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady before he left has now come to light. A new book by Seth Wickersham, who initially got into this drama. That's where this whole thing kind of started. He had I think it was also a book with different interviews from different people, well, all anonymous, I think. But they went into the drama in Deflategate and Garoppolo, all that stuff. Now he has another book detailing more drama after the fact, for the most part, but there is some stuff like just throughout his career. So this is an article from ESPN, doesn't have an author, just ESPN News Services. It says New England Patriots book goes inside secretive and controversial franchise, and Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick. It says in the end, Tom Brady just wanted to say goodbye, in person, to his longtime coach, but according to a new book to be published next month, Bill Belichick said he wasn't available and insisted the two New England Patriots legends talk on the phone. Now, I'm a Patriots fan, so I'm going to be able to talk a bit about this. And this is also a long article. Just show you here. A decent length article, at least, so this might take a little bit. But it says, even though Belichick told Brady that he was, quote, the best player the league had ever seen, Brady told a friend the fact it came over the phone was, quote, telling about how badly the duo's relationship had deteriorated over the years. The book, quote, It's Better to Be Feared by ESPN senior writer Seth Wickersham, will be published October 12th by Liverite Publishing. Kind of name is that? Like, there's that medicine, liver, or whatever it is, Liverade. That's spelled differently, I think, but it's weird. It's based on hundreds of interviews with a range of sources, including previously confidential emails, texts, game plans, scouting reports, and internal New England studies, including one in which Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods, and Brady were interviewed about personality traits that fueled their greatness. Kind of an odd study for them to be doing, but okay. The book reveals the inner workings of the secretive and controversial Patriots franchise that dominated the NFL from 2001 to 2019, and illuminates the power dynamics between the driven, proud trio of the team owner Robert Kraft, Belichick, and Brady. It also explores how some of the league's biggest names inside and outside the organization dealt with the juggernaut. The success brought out the football genius and flaws of Brady, Belichick, and Kraft, and others throughout the league, Wickersham writes. Wickersham writes that Brady ultimately left New England not only because both Belichick and Kraft refused to commit to him until his stated goal of playing until age 45. It was believed that Belichick thought Brady was close to the end, but because he wanted to be at an organization that welcomed his input rather than ignored it, something he ultimately found in Tampa Bay. And Belichick obviously didn't believe he was going to be able to play at a high level until 45. That's why he drafted Garoppolo back in, 2014? A while ago. Might have been later than that, but maybe a little earlier. I don't remember what year it was. But he thought back then he wasn't going to have much left. And he's still going today. Quote, Tom Brady had been curious if there was another way of winning, and while nobody was arguing that Bruce Arians was a better coach than Bill Belichick or even close, the seamlessness of Brady's proficiency and performance was making his former coach methodologies look antiquated, even silly, the book says. It was better to be feared, but was it necessary? As examples of what the dynasty wrought, Wickersham writes that Kraft once called Belichick the biggest effing a-hole in my life. I'll say it, biggest fucking asshole in my life. Bill O'Brien told a colleague he tried to get fired as coach of the Houston Texans because he thought he might be able to succeed Belichick, the book says, oh god. Glad that, at least I don't think that's going to happen. Jesus. That would be not good. Bill O'Brien's just a joke at this point. Belichick and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell had a much closer relationship than previously known, and once met secretly in New England airplane hangar to discuss rule changes, even as Rise unsuccessfully pleaded with Goodell to drop the Deflategate inquiry, worried about the long-term damage to the league brand. New England's historic run produced 6 Super Bowls in 19 years, but also multiple controversies, Spygate and Deflategate among them. The book dives deeply into Kraft and his influence on the team and league, portraying him as an idealistic and patient leader and loyal friend to the league, but also carrying a ruthlessness streak often most attributed to his head coach. In 2018, with the Pats' success and controversies wearing thin on all involved, Wickersham writes that Kraft, Brady, and Belichick were trying to set aside grievances in order to remain victorious. Brady was tired of taking team-friendly deals with no input into how the money saved was spent, and still wanted a long-term contractual commitment, Wickersham writes. Belichick told associates that every organizational decision now was in support of Brady, geared toward pleasing him, making him successful, and that Kraft meddled with the team, sometimes with opinions, sometimes with restrictive budgets. I don't think the restrictive budgets thing was just Kraft. I think Belichick was cheap. I'm sure Kraft had a say in that. He's the one cashing the checks, but I think Brady Belichick was a cheapskate. As for Kraft, in late September, he was in Aspen, Colorado, for a conference and bumped into a few friends in the hotel lobby early one morning. He told them he was leaving later for Detroit, where the Patriots were playing their next game. I hate leaving here, Kraft said. You leave here and you leave some of the most brilliant people you ever met. You pick up so much knowledge from all these brilliant minds, and I have to go to Detroit to be the biggest fucking asshole in my life, my head coach, and be with. Biggest fucking asshole in my life, my head coach. Jeez. Bill was an idiot savant, Kraft told a confidant, according to the book, alluding to Belichick's reputation before he hired the former Cleveland Browns coach in 2000. I gave him this opportunity. The strain within the franchise had been coming for years. The book says, at one point, years earlier, if there was an NFL franchise in Los Angeles, Brady might have tried to force a trade there, according to those close to him. Kraft sometimes groaned to confidants that Belichick didn't show him the respect he deserved. But he was in no rush for a life after him, Wickersham writes. Brady, though, seemed ready for it. I don't want to play for Bill anymore, he told people close to him in 2017. Sounds about right. At that point, I think the Deflategate stuff really strained the relationship. As he wrote in his last book, or wrote in an article that he did, I don't remember what it was, but as he wrote before, ultimately, according to the book, Kraft, Brady, and a few others discussed scenarios about who would replace Belichick. If offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels left after the season to be a head coach elsewhere, New England could hire O'Brien. He could perhaps one day succeed Belichick. Again, no. I wouldn't be against McDaniels necessarily. He wasn't really successful in Denver, but I think maybe after failing that first time, maybe he learns, and then he's had more of an opportunity to learn under Belichick. So, I wouldn't be opposed to it. The plan was fanciful, Wickersham writes, but O'Brien heard about it. He was in a power struggle of his own in Houston, fighting with general manager Rick Smith, a dysfunctional and toxic situation, according to the Houston Chronicle. The leaks from O'Brien's camp, claiming he wanted out, were so aggressive as to be suspicious, as if he knew he had a golden parachute, In the end, though, the Texans chose O'Brien over Smith, giving the coach more control over football operations. O'Brien later joked to a confidant that it was somewhat empty victory. "I was trying to get fired," he said. Kraft, Brady, Belichick, and the Patriots declined to be interviewed by Wickersham for the book, but they are quoted from on-the-record interviews with the author from the past 2 decades. Patriots did not respond to requests for comment on this story, though Belichick did respond to a question Wednesday at his regular news conference about whether he didn't want to meet in person with Brady. "No, that's not true," he said. There are a few things about this book. It sounds like it's a lot of second, third, and fourth-hand comments. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to focus on this game and try to prepare for the Bucs. Among other findings in It's Better to Be Feared, and these are a bunch of different topics. I'll go through these. At the 2008 league meetings, Belichick and then New York Jets head coach Eric Mangini nearly had a fist fight. After a dinner for head coaches, Julie Mangini, wife of Eric, bumped into Belichick and said hi, trying to ease tension after the post-Spygate fallout. Belichick blew her off, and when she told Eric what had happened, he charged across the room and needed to be held back by the other coaches from swinging at Belichick. "Hey Bill, fuck you," Mangini yelled. And what's so bad about this? I mean, you blow her off, and if this is physically bumping into each other, it's phrased like she bumped into him. But there's nothing bad about this that would make me go off at him. Just be like, okay, fuck you too then, I guess. But I don't know what else. Well, I don't know why he would go off like that. After Spygate, during U.S. Senator Arlen Specter's inquiry into whether the Patriots had videotaped the St. Louis Rams walkthrough practice for Super Bowl 36, former Rams coach Mike Martz said he believed that New England had also videotaped the Rams practices during the week. "I'd like to hang Belichick by the nuts," he told a confidant. Using this word confidant a lot. But this whole videotaping thing, I know Kurt Warner holds this against them. I don't know. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. I don't know. There's not really evidence. But some of these Rams people are really holding it against them. But who knows? During Spygate, the Broncos' then head coach Mike Shanahan backed Belichick and told Goodell that he wished he had videotaped signals and was disappointed for not thinking of the cheating methods himself. Goodell had called coaches and executives trying to learn more about New England's videotaping practices. Nearly all of them wanted Belichick severely punished except Shanahan. "You can't say that Bill Belichick is a bad guy," Shanahan told Goodell. "Bill's just better at it than most are." Yeah, everybody cheats. This whole thing about obsessing over the Patriots cheating is so stupid. Everybody does it. It's just so annoying. Sorry if you can hear the work outside. I can't do anything about that. But continuing on, Brady's adjustment to worldwide fame early in his career was more difficult than he ever let on publicly. Cars would follow him home from work. At one point, during the week leading up to the 2002 Super Bowl against the Rams, Brady literally ran from fame. He and some friends decided to hit Bourbon Street in New Orleans before they could even enter a bar or a restaurant. A crowd formed around him so thick that all of them took off down the sidewalk and ducked into an alley, hiding until the fans had dissipated. "Our life has changed," Brady told his parents after the win over the Rams. "You're gonna change, and I'm gonna change." Toward the end of the dynastic run, Belichick commissioned an internal study to examine the traits of transcendent athletes Jordan, Bryant, Woods, and Brady were interviewed, among others. The study revealed that while the motivations of the rest of the elite athletes centered around the themes of rage and manufactured conflict. Brady was different. He felt most at the peak of his powers not when he was measuring the size of the chip on his shoulder, but when he was in a loving and supportive environment, Wickersham writes. This, I bet this study is just for finding the next guy. Like, if Mac Jones the guy, I don't know, but finding the next guy to replace Brady, it's probably what it was for, if I had to guess. Just a weird study to do, otherwise. Team owners tried to negotiate a 2011 collective bargaining agreement with Union Chief DeMaurice Smith at Myra Kraft's funeral. Not the best place for that, I guess. Robert Kraft had tried to ease a contentious moment between the NFL and NFLPA, then by attending CBA negotiations, even though his wife Myra was ill with cancer. After she died in July 2011, many team owners and Smith attended her funeral. It was during the lockout. Several owners tried to discuss CBA and negotiate points at the funeral. I wanted to throw up, Smith told a confidant. After Deflategate, Goodell was the public enemy of the Patriots. He decided to visit Gillette Stadium during a preseason game in 2017 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He wanted to walk the field during warm-ups, take his medicine from the crowd, and ease the tension so that he could return from the season opener when the Patriots' 5th Super Bowl banner would be raised. The trip was doomed from the start. First, the league's plane broke down before it could take off. By the time the league secured another plane, Goodell was late and had missed warm-ups, ruining the point of the trip. League executives decided to leak the news that Goodell was at the game to the Boston Globe. After reporter Ben Volen tweeted a grainy picture of Goodell in Kraft's suite, the owner hit the roof and yelled at league executives. "You're killing me with the fans," Kraft said. "Why would I want to be seen here with Roger with all this stuff going on with Brady?" Even though Goodell has heavily punished the Patriots 3 times for rules violations, he has become close with Belichick, besides the secret meeting at a private airport to discuss rule changes. On the morning after the Patriots Super Bowl win over the Falcons, Belichick hugged Goodell and lifted the commissioner's feet off the ground. Wow. And that's... I hate hearing that as a Patriots fan. I don't like Goodell at all. Hearing Belichick did that, it's just not sitting well with me. It just goes against everything the fans are feeling, everything probably a lot of the teammates are feeling. That's just weird. Continues. In 2016, after then-President candidate Donald Trump read a letter of support from Belichick at a campaign rally, Patriots assistant coach Brian Flores told Belichick that several players were angry and that he, quote, needed to say something to the team. Belichick addressed the team, but it didn't help initially. Many players felt he was being disingenuous. It was hypocritical and out of character, Patriots player recalled. "I don't think he's an intolerant coach. He isn't a bad guy. Bill just fucked up and justified it in a way that he would never accept from a player." After the meeting, a small group of Patriots players considered boycotting practice, but then reconsidered. That's absolutely ridiculous. That would affect anything. It doesn't matter who you support or how you think politically. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. The fact that they consider boycotting is absolutely ridiculous, and you even had to address it. It's just stupid. I mean, come on, grow up. And this is the last bullet point here. In the lead up to Super Bowl 52 against Philadelphia Eagles, Patriots cornerback Malcolm Butler and defensive coordinator Matt Patricia traded heated words at practice over the former Super Bowl hero's lack of effort. Butler was demoted. At the team party after New England's loss, Butler responded to teammates asking why he was benched by saying, "These dudes," referring to the coaches according to the book, "these motherfuckers." So it seems like he got benched because him and Matt Patricia exchanged words. That is I mean, it's Super Bowl, man. He's your best cornerback at that time. Dude, just let it go. That's the reason you lost. If he was out there, he could have stopped one of those drives. You could have won that game with him out there. That is absolutely horrible. That's the reason why, if this is true. That is ridiculous. But some of this stuff doesn't surprise me. I mean, the relationship was getting worse and worse. It seemed like not wanting to commit to Brady, the Deflategate stuff, just different things here. Malcolm Butler, I feel like the reasoning is kind of what we thought it was. He got into uh, a little fight, whether it was physical or uh, words. It just seemed like that's what it was. We thought it was with Steve Belichick, though. So, that is a little interesting that it was with Patricia. But this whole thing, it's really, it's really convenient that it came out this week. And the book's coming out on the 12th. Probably wanted it to come out this week, but I guess couldn't get it out in time. So just release some of this stuff beforehand. But this just adds to the drama even more. I mean, the Patriots are probably going to get stomped this weekend, but it's still like one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game in sports history. I mean, it's up there. It's going to be really weird seeing him go up against the Patriots. It's already weird seeing him in a Buccaneers uniform, and he already won a Super Bowl there. It's just going to be crazy. The crowd is going to be insane. That's going to be a really awesome game. I mean, even if Patriots get stopped. But the stuff, I mean, some of it surprises me a little bit, but most of it, not really. Some of it I wasn't even thinking about. Bill O'Brien possibly being the heir. Not thinking about that at all. And the Myra Kraft, the stuff with negotiating CBA at Myra Kraft's funeral was odd. But overall, I kind of expected this. I mean, it seems like he's got a lot of insiders, and last one seems like it turned out to be right. Last thing he did. So, we'll see if any reaction other than what Belichick said earlier is going to come from this, and if anything else will come out when the book's released. That would be interesting. But give me your thoughts on anything in this article. Your thoughts about the game coming up this weekend. Thoughts on, do you think it was more Brady than Belichick, or Belichick than Brady, maybe both together? Just give me your thoughts on anything surrounding Brady, Kraft, Belichick, and the whole dynasty, this whole drama as well. And there's a lot of stuff you guys can talk about in the comments. But thanks for watching. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, comment, share. I have another channel called The Thoughtful Outlaw where I talk about news in the entertainment world regarding Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, gaming, and more. So check that out, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.